Hello, my name is Arno Feist. I'm the CEO of Brussels Airport Company and the accountable manager for compliance and aviation safety. From this perspective, I strongly support this awareness initiative. The principal objective of an aircraft rescue and firefighting is to save lives in the event of an aircraft accident or incident occurring at or in the immediate vicinity of an aerodrome. Aircraft rescue and firefighting is provided to create and maintain survivable conditions, to provide egress routes for occupants, and to initiate the rescue of those occupants who are unable to make their escape without direct aid. This awareness module includes material concerning the level of protection provided at the airport, its fire stations, equipment, operating procedures, and training of personnel for dealing with emergencies. I do hope you appreciate the content of this product, and please do not hesitate to share with us your concerns and suggestions in this matter.
This awareness module includes three main topics: the legislation we must comply with, the corresponding organisation of aircraft rescue and firefighting called Fire and Emergency Services at Brussels Airport, and the applied tactics. We first elaborate on legislation related to fire and emergency services, emergency response and coordination, and medical support to aircraft operators and passengers. Brussels Airport has a special emergency and intervention plan in place, which was created in collaboration with local authorities. This plan defines the operational and management coordination principles and procedures. The Special Emergency and Intervention Plan is also known as BENIP or Bijzonder Nood- en Interventieplan. The Emergency and Intervention Plan is in line with local authority requirements and is compliant with both ICAO and EASA rulemaking. The plan is aligned with the aircraft operations and other activities conducted at the airport, providing for the coordination of appropriate organizations in response to an emergency occurring at the airport or its surroundings. The plan also defines procedures for periodic testing of the adequacy of the plan and for reviewing the results in order to improve its effectiveness. The level of protection to be provided at an airport is based on the dimensions of the aircraft using the airport and their frequency of operations. The airport category for aircraft rescue and firefighting is based on the overall length of the longest aircraft using the airport and the maximum fuselage width. The declared level of protection at Brussels Airport is shown highlighted. Brussels Airport Fire and Emergency Services ensures a response time not exceeding 3 minutes with an operational objective of not exceeding 2 minutes from initial call to fire and emergency services to any point of each operational runway in optimum visibility and surface conditions and be in a position to apply foam. Any vehicle, other than the first responding vehicle, required to achieve continuous application of extinguishing agents arrives no more than 1 minute after the first responding vehicle. Did you know that a minimum of 12 emergency response time checks are organized each year by Brussels Airport to check compliance with the minimum response time, and that fire and emergency services staff organize additional response readiness checks? The principal objective of fire and emergency services is to save lives in the event of an aircraft accident or incident. The fire and emergency services are prepared for the need to extinguish a fire at any time, including during aircraft landing, takeoff, taxiing, parking, after an accident or incident, or during rescue operations. With this knowledge of legislation, we now focus on the organization of fire and emergency services at Brussels Airport. The fire and emergency services at Brussels Airport are under the administrative control of Brussels Airport Management. Brussels Airport is responsible for ensuring that the service provided is organized, equipped, staffed, trained and operated in such a manner that proper functions are fulfilled. We distinguish 4 major process components: emergency response coordination, fire and rescue, emergency medical service, and emergency management. To manage the processes, Brussels Airport has a dedicated department in place, led by a fire chief in the role of head of fire and emergency services. The organization includes specialized and well-trained firefighters, medics, management, and administrators. The fire and emergency activities are operated from different locations at the airport. The Brussels Airport fleet consists of conventional rescue and firefighting vehicles in order to effectively deliver and deploy the extinguishing agents specified in our airport category. In addition, special vehicles are available to cover structural firefighting and rescue, to facilitate medical interventions, and to support environmental protection. Our apologies for overwhelming you with definitions, but applying standardized definitions will clarify the following part of this animation. The aircraft emergencies for which services may be required are classified as local standby. An aircraft approaching the aerodrome is known or is suspected to have developed some defect, but the trouble is not such as would normally involve any serious difficulty in effecting a safe landing. Full emergency. An aircraft approaching the aerodrome is, or is suspected to be, in such trouble that there is imminent danger of an accident. Ground emergency. An aircraft on the ground is suspected to be involved in an accident or is in such trouble that there is imminent danger of an accident. Aircraft accident. An aircraft accident which has occurred on or in the aerodrome surroundings. Pilots declaring PAN-PAN means the activation of local standby. Knowing first-line information facilitates the quick response of resources should the situation be scaled up to full emergency. In general, we need aircraft type, number of persons on board, nature of the emergency, estimated time of arrival, fuel and dangerous goods. In response to local standby, aircraft in trouble get fire and emergency services in standby, including a fire officer near the runway and others in front of the fire stations. Special requests are possible and scaling up is possible by the pilot, ATC or fire officer in command. Pilots declaring Mayday means the activation of full emergency. We need aircraft type, number of persons on board, nature of the emergency, estimated time of arrival, fuel, and dangerous goods. In response to full emergency, aircraft in trouble get fire and emergency services at dedicated airside locations and public emergency services in standby. Fire and emergency services will follow the aircraft after vacating the runway. No scaling down is possible. The end of the full emergency is given by the fire department. This table gives you an overview of where emergency vehicles are positioned based on the type of emergency and the runways in use. This example highlights the configuration applied when runway 25 right would be in use during a full emergency approach. In the case of a ground emergency declared by a parked or taxiing aircraft, we need the exact location of the emergency and the nature of the emergency. In response to ground emergency, aircraft in trouble get fire and emergency services on location. In the case of an aircraft accident, we need the exact location of the accident and all information concerning the aircraft. In response, the accident aircraft gets multidisciplinary services on location and fully deployed internal and external emergency services. The emergency response procedures, as described in the Special Emergency and Intervention Plan, also known as BNIP, will be activated, including activation of coordination structures, medical chain and reception centers. In case of a medical emergency at the airport, we need the exact location of the emergency, medical information, and any other relevant information. In response to a medical emergency at the airport, you get emergency medical assistance, specialized medical assistance, and fire department assistance depending on the location and need. In the case of a request for medical assistance reported by an arriving aircraft in flight, we need flight details, estimated time of arrival and all changes, medical information and seat number, runway and planned stand, and any other relevant information. In response, aircraft in trouble get medical assistance as demanded. This procedure requires that the other passengers remain seated until medical services are with the patient. In the case of a medical emergency reported to ATC by an arriving aircraft in flight, we need flight details, estimated time of arrival and all changes, medical information and seat number, runway and planned stand, and any other relevant information. In response, aircraft in trouble get emergency medical assistance, specialized medical assistance, and fire department assistance. This illustration shows you how the communication flow is organized, looking at a medical problem on board an aircraft. Knowing about legislation and how Brussels Airport is organized, we now briefly focus on some applied tactics and communication principles. In general, the following flow of actions is part of the applied tactics. Here we show some examples of tactics for extinguishing fire and facilitating escape routes, taking into account the position of the aircraft, wind direction, location of the fire, etc. Radio frequencies are monitored continuously by the fire department. A dedicated frequency can be requested via ATC by pilot or fire department. If radio communication is not possible, hand communication signals may be applied. We distinguish 4 regularly used signals. Recommended evacuation. Evacuation is recommended based on aircraft rescue and firefighting and incident commander's assessment of the external situation. The arm is extended from the body and held vertical, with the hand upraised at eye level. A waving, beckoning arm motion is executed, angled backwards. The non-beckoning arm is held against the body. Recommended stop. It is recommended that the evacuation in progress be halted. Stop aircraft movement or other activity in progress. Arms are held in front of the head, crossed at the wrists. Fire. An area on fire on an aircraft is signaled by moving the right hand in a fanning figure of 8 motion from shoulder to knee, while at the same time pointing with the left hand to the area on fire. Emergency contained. No outside evidence of dangerous conditions or all clear. The arms are extended outward and down at a 45-degree angle. The arms are moved inward below the waistline simultaneously until the wrists are crossed, then extended outward again to starting position. We have come to the end of this awareness module. We hope that we've answered your questions related to legislation, our organization, and some applied tactics. We welcome any further questions for clarification or your suggestions. Feel free to contact contingency@brusselsairport.be.